A promise of sorts that we would be under construction when we return this year, and I'm certainly pleased to be able to say that we've made good on that undertaking. When we kicked off 2017, our whole objective in life was to secure a full financing package for Woodlawn, for the project. And whilst this process took a lot longer than we had anticipated, in June this year we announced that we had secured a fully funded financing for the project, and that has enabled us to get the construction underway, which we'll talk about shortly. And I mentioned before our new private equity groups that have joined the company. That came about as a result of the financing, and Orion and Castle Lake joined us, and Peter and Ricardo, whom I've introduced to you, joined the board in September, and Mark Sawyer from Greenstone, of course, was already with us at that point, Greenstone having entered the register much earlier. In 2017, this year, February of 2017, we're also happy to talk about this. We spun out this company called Ardea Resources, which has had some tremendous success. We decided that we would spin those assets out into Ardea. All shareholders that were shareholders at the time received an in-specie distribution of shares, and Ardea has been a tremendous success. Those shares were listed at something like 20 cents. They've been to $2, and today they're a tad under $1.60. So they've had a great run, and that's primarily off the back of an exciting new electric type commodity called cobalt. So that seems to be bringing them great success. Now that we've got the funding, our objective forward from here is crystal clear. It is simply to complete the construction of Woodlawn on time and on budget. It's no more complex than that, although I have to say that sitting behind that is obviously a lot of work that has to be undertaken. So we're targeting end of 2018, roughly this time next year, a little bit later, to start commissioning the new mine. And when we do that, we of course will be selling concentrates, and we look as though we're going to be blessed with the fact that we'll be selling metal concentrates, particularly zinc, into a very favourable market. You might recall we've made both Wayne and I presentations before on the zinc market. Wayne will probably talk a little bit more about it today. Pleased to say that the fundamentals for zinc in particular look just fantastic, and so this time next year when we turn the switch on, I'm hopeful that zinc market will still look very positive for us. So before I go to the formal part of the proceedings, there are a couple of acknowledgements I'd like to make. Firstly, to the other members of the board, I'd like to thank them for their contribution throughout the year. I'd also like to thank Wayne and his team for their efforts in getting the project in construction, and it's no easy feat, I can assure you. And the financing that we undertook was particularly complex, and it was a very difficult process that we went through. So congratulations to all of them. Obviously, we'll be adding to our team significantly over the coming months, particularly in the middle of next year. We build up the ramp up of people as we head to a commissioning in around about December next year. I would also, many of you will remember Ian Buckhorn. Ian was the founder of the company. I'd like to recognise his contribution, as I have done before. He resigned earlier this year, and he has subsequently taken up a position as an executive director of Ardea Resources, which you heard me mention is the vehicle into which we spun out some of our assets. So I'd like to thank Ian for his many years of service. Thank you to all shareholders for your continued patience and support. I am well aware that some shareholders are concerned that the recent financing that we undertook did cause dilution to your holdings. However, I can assure you that the do-nothing alternative that we faced at the time of making that decision to proceed with the financing was not an attractive option for shareholders. One of the resolutions being voted on today is a consolidation of share capital. It's 1 for 10 share capital consolidation, and we're somewhat hopeful that that will see some institutional investors attracted to the register, and I remain optimistic, cautiously optimistic, that we will see a gradual appreciation in our share price. So turning to next year's AGM then, as I made a promise this time last year about construction, I look forward to reporting to you again at a time when we'll be very much on the cusp of becoming a mine operator and exporter of base metals. That's not far away, 12 months plus, and that's the position that we hope to be in next year. So now for the exciting formal proceedings.